Major announcement at the G20 summit in New Delhi this week. Plans were announced for a giant port and rail project that will link India to Europe via the Middle East. It will go via Jordan and Israel. To talk more about that, we're joined from Abu Dhabi by Loai Al-Sharif, peace activist and expert in Arab-Israeli relations. Good to see you, Loai. And here with me in the studio, Dr. Ephraim Halamish is NYU and Kroll Senior Advisor and Institute Fellow. Good to have you with us.
Great to be here.
As well. Loai, I'll start with you then, because first off, President Biden thanked the President of the UAE, Mohammed bin Zayed, didn't he, for his role in pushing the initiative. To what extent is this corridor a Gulf-led project?
It's a UAE-led project, actually. Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed raised this with the American administration a couple of months ago. And now, to be very honest, Laura, this is the dream for everyone who loves peace in the Middle East. Imagine, Laura, you wake up for a morning breakfast in Dubai, and then you spend lunch in Riyadh, and then you spend the night in Haifa. And that's like the dream. Imagine this is happening in a couple of years. So I believe it's a great project, and it will change the Middle East. And don't forget that it's being approved by all parties, including Saudi Arabia, even though there is no diplomatic relations with the state of Israel yet. But I hope this will ease so many things in the future.
Yes, that was a big one, wasn't it, Loai? That sounds like a wonderful day indeed. Ephraim Halamish, why would you say the G20 was the right place for this forum to be announced? And what are the commercial drivers? That's your area of expertise. What were the commercial drivers in the project?
Sure. So I think quite often we see international forums really the place to announce major projects. It gives the whole process credibility. It brings other international players to the table. And frankly, these are the largest economies in the world, which eventually will finance this and other projects. So it's pretty critical to use the G20 platform. Now, when we think about the economic drivers, what's really behind this project and more other projects to come, I think it's pretty clear that now Israel and the region is more about the greater Middle East. So people now think more and more about the regional markets, which of course this project will enhance. I think at the same time, the cost of shipping, we saw what happened during the Corona crisis. The costs were pretty high. So this is an opportunity to lower the cost of transportation significantly, both when it comes to goods and services and also digital goods. And most importantly, this is a market signaling. In other words, it's very important to signal the market that this is just one of many projects which will bring Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the other countries together.
Loai, would you agree with that? We've talked about how it will bring India and Europe closer together, but what about us in the Middle East? How will this help foster cooperation here?
It will help a lot, Laura. When it comes to economy, when people see that their economy is improving, and when they see goods are coming back and forth, and the economical impact really changes everything. And I believe that this will have a huge impact on Israel's integration in the region, even though I believe it's so many things will happen sooner than that, hopefully. But this will have a great impact because it's attached to economy. When people see that the economy is improving because of this project or that, they would absolutely shift positively about it.
Ephraim, that's what's interesting for Israel, isn't it? The port of Haifa, Israel's ports, are what makes it attractive for this project, along with other things. What role do you think will there be for Israeli companies in developing such a huge project?
Of course. So as we've seen over the last couple of years, Israeli companies are playing a huge role in major projects in the developing world. You see Israeli companies in places like Africa, Southeast Asia, and some other parts of the world where Israeli companies, even if they don't really build the project themselves, although quite often they do that too, they're very involved with design, with planning, with financing, and basically supporting major projects in the developing world. So I think here this is a great opportunity. Even if we won't see necessarily the project tomorrow morning, many Israeli companies will play a major role in planning and financing many different parts of this project. And as you mentioned yourself, the port of Haifa and other regional ports will play a major role in the project.
And Loai, how will this help upgrade infrastructure in the region, do you think? Are we going to see a return to the golden age of the railways?
We would love to see that. By the way, the only means of transportation in the Gulf, whenever I want to travel between Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, UAE, and in our region, we only use, to be very honest, air transportation. Well, we are not used to the railroad, so we would love to see this full integration happening in the Gulf, especially between Saudi Arabia and the UAE. And by the way, Laura, if Saudi Arabia connects to the UAE, because the UAE now has a national railroad that will connect all the 7 Emirates, this is a good thing, but then it will externally connect to Saudi Arabia. Hopefully, it will also connect to Bahrain later on, and also to other GCC countries like Qatar. So we are deprived of railways in the GCC. Say yes, we would love to see the golden age of railways in our region.
Yeah, travelling by train is so much better than flying, and so much better for the environment as well, isn't it? And I'll ask you both this question. I mean, this is a hugely ambitious project. What are we talking about in terms of a timeline? Is it actually going to happen, and what kind of time frame are we looking at?
This is a terrific question. I think at the end of the day, we all understand that it's going to take many, many years to plan and execute the project. But we already see the ramifications and the economic benefits today and over the next couple of years. As I mentioned before, I think we're going to see many companies from the Arab world, from Israel and Asia, participating in planning and executing the project and related programs. And I think today, the fact that we talk about major projects like this one will signal positive signals to the marketplace to make sure that investors, which are a little bit on the sideline for all types of geopolitical and commercial reasons, they will feel way more comfortable continue investing in the region. So I think we will see more and more benefits today, although it's pretty clear that it's going to take a couple of good years to plan and finance this major project.
All right, so the key is getting investors on board. We're at that stage.
Absolutely. I think if we learn anything from major projects in the region, like the East Med Energy Collaboration, which has been super successful, or the Energy Ministers Forum, which has been quite effective, is as long as we have international energy and finance companies basically participating in the process, all the parties feel comfortable with the security and the success of the project as a whole.
What are you hearing where you are, Luai, then in terms of a time frame? Raising money is clearly the order of the day right now, but when will your dream of having breakfast in New Delhi, lunch in Riyadh, and supper in Haifa become a reality?
I'm so sure, inshallah, it's before 2030. I'm so hopeful, and plus all the other problematic issues in the Middle East will be solved by then. I would give it like 2029, 2028 time frame.
Would you say this is integral to Saudi Arabia's 2030 project then?
Yeah, of course, the vision, and also don't forget that I believe that before the year 2030 comes, Israel would be more integrated in the region with most of its countries, including Saudi Arabia.